All right, Rob, we talked about it a little bit with Eddie House about Dr. J. And let me just read Rob G. Yeah, but I'm going to give Dr. J's. Does he give his teams? His sound is on LeBron. So I'm going to give his teams. He was on Chris Haynes' podcast called Post It Up. And the sound of the teams you have? Okay. So he was asked on Chris Haynes, Fox Sports 1 NBA analyst, on his podcast Post It Up, asked Dr. J about his first two starting five. So his all-time starting fives, first team and second team. And here's what the doctor said.
My first team is like Oscar Robertson and Jerry West, and I got Wilt Chamberlain, Bill Russell, and Elgin Baylor. You know, that second team, the Magic, Michael, Larry, Karl Malone, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, those guys, they would be my second team, and a lot of people would argue that it's LeBron. Nobody, it's crazy to kind of pick him on the third team.
All right, so first I'll say this, Rob, and this isn't really the controversial part, but Dr. J's teams obviously were about eras. So his first team, if you look at it, he never played against any of those guys. His first team was guys he grew up watching. All of them. He never played against any of those guys. Now, some of it's that he was in the ABA, and I don't know if they played an exhibition game or something because ABA and NBA would do that. But,
right.
He never played, an official game against any of those guys.
You know that people listening going, what's the ABA? You know that, Chris.
It was like the NBA is now, right, Rob? It was more of a precursor than the NBA back then. And then his second team, Rob, was guys he played against. Now, Jordan and Karl Malone are the youngest on his team, and they were coming into the league as he was leaving it. But he did play a little against both of those, I believe. So that's where it was. I mean, he didn't, Shaq. Not only is LeBron missing, Shaq's missing, Kobe's missing, Steph's missing, Tim Duncan's missing, so Olajuwon, I don't think he said Olajuwon either.
No, I didn't hear his name either, right?
Yeah, so I think that's it. But what was more controversial was why he said he didn't have LeBron on. Do we have the sound of that, Rob G? Why he said okay, here it is.
The guy who has led the charge in terms of super teams being put together. When he put together a team in Miami, he basically put a team together in Cleveland as well, and put together a team in Los Angeles. So he could pick his own team. I ain't gonna pick his team. I ain't saying nothing bad about LeBron.
Yeah, I'm not saying LeBron would argue, because I know he would probably come back to me, but he will argue that these super teams always existed. If you look at all the championship teams, they've always had 2, 3, or even sometimes 4 All-Stars.
They would draft it. Players weren't picking their own teams.
All right, go. I know you want to get on this, Rob. So.
I mean, I get it. I know everybody will say it's just hate. Everybody hates LeBron or whatever. I just think that in that era, and we talk about it, there was a thing about competition. I just think that this is the AAU mentality. People want to play on the same team and beat nobody and beat their chest. And it just wasn't like that. It doesn't mean that what people feel good about, that's why LeBron to this day still feels like he has to prove something. Or after they won the championship,
he said, right.
Where's my damn respect? Why did he have to ask for respect, Chris? If you're winning and you're putting up these great numbers and you're arguably one of the greatest players forever, why do you have to ask for respect? Because he knows that there are some people out there that no matter what will never acknowledge him fully because of the way he went about it. It's not that free agents going places didn't happen before, but it wasn't LeBron who was the Norma Ray of the NBA and he was trying to, have players get free rights, or he was Kurt Flood or showing people a different way. He was trying to stack the deck for himself. This wasn't about player empowerment for the league. It was about, I'm in Cleveland. I don't want to be Charles Barkley. I'm the one who has a tattoo, the chosen one, on my back. I can't go out and not win a championship. so I'm going to give up on myself and go team with other guys. And when he sat there in Miami and they had the confetti coming down and the balloons and the dancing girls, and he was going, not one, not two, not three. He meant that.
Not two,
That wasn't a
not
joke.
three,
He
not
meant
four,
that. He
not
really
five.
thought he had constructed a team was going to win the next 10 championships. That's what he thought when he did it. He thought he had figured everybody out. He had outsmarted everybody. And it didn't work out that way.
Right. They only won two out of 4.
But am I right when he was saying that, Chris? He wasn't joking.
Oh,
They
yeah,
thought they thought.
Look, Rob, that night, I remember vividly. As you know, I was front and center on that coverage. And that night on SportsCenter, I remember talking about it. If you had told me they're going to win 2 of the next 4 championships, I would have thought you were crazy. I would have thought they're going to win at least 3. At least 3 of the 4 championships. And maybe all 4.
They went to all 4, Chris. They went to
Right.
4 championships in a row.
And they were better than Dallas. And LeBron knows.
That Dallas
LeBron
team, other
didn't
Dirk,
play his game.
Dirk played big, and Dirk made
Jason
unbelievable
Terry
shots.
played as big
and-
as Dirk.
Yeah, but I mean, he wasn't like a superstar who didn't make big shots. You're
But
right, Jason.
LeBron, they should have won that series. You know that. LeBron was not himself in those last. Once they went up 2-1, he just faded. And they should have won that series. But they didn't. That's all that matters is they didn't win it.
Then they lost to the Spurs. They could have easily. Ray
in the
Allen doesn't
fourth
hit
year.
that shot, Chris. They might have won 1. I mean,
Well, here's the thing, though.
that's how big
'cause-
that shot was for LeBron.
Yeah, but you know this. The Spurs, knowing they gave away that series with the missed free throws and then Ray hits that shot, their whole mentality coming back that next year was beat Miami in the finals. They wanted to win the championship, obviously, but they wanted Miami. And
No, 'cause they knew they gave that away. I mean,
right. So my point is, had they won that year in 2015, was it 2013? They wouldn't have had that same drive.
Oh,
Now,
I don't know if they would
tried
have
to
not
play-
won. Right.
Well, they would have been a great team, but I just think you never know how things are affected. So I'm not gonna say that they wouldn't have won it, but yeah, they could have lost that third year. But here's what I say: LeBron, he did not start the super teams. He started the player-generated super teams, and I agree with you, Rob. LeBron did not have this master plan of players are getting screwed. I'm going to set the tone and show players how to take control of their own destiny. He did it for himself. And the residual effect, right, was that other players began doing it. So I agree but he did start it. I don't know that Rosa Parks was looking to start the civil rights movement, not to compare it, but, she
Her
just
feet
sat
were tired.
down.
She was
Right.
tired from working all day.
Right. She was like, look, I'm sitting down.
I paid my
And-
fare. I'm sitting down.
Right.
That's what she said.
So he started it, even though that I don't believe that was his intention. And Rob, here's the thing. I've been that night he went to Miami, and that day Kevin Durant went to Golden State. I was one of the few in the media, one of those prominent media voices who was not criticizing him. I said, LeBron James, we always say, all they care about is money. They don't care about winning. Well, he's taking less money to go win. All they care, they just want to be the man. They don't care about what. Well, he's giving up being the king to be one of, at that time, they were being called 3 kings. So he gave up ego. So I was like, this is what we say we want dudes to do. He wants to win. But I agree with you, Rob, that I'm not critical of the super teams. I'm not critical of Brooklyn, what they're doing now. But it is, if you had to choose, it just is more noble to win with the deck that you have been dealt than to stack the deck. And LeBron he stacked the deck in Miami. He tried to stack it in Cleveland. He somewhat stacked it in LA, and Durant stacked it in Golden State, and Durant stacking it now in Brooklyn. So it is a little different than this. This is what I got. I'm going to war with, and we gonna win or lose. But this is what I'll throw at you, Rob. What if they don't win? If LeBron James stayed in Cleveland from the get-go and had 2 championships, he would not be viewed as the second best player by many. I'd say most people. He wouldn't be in the GOAT conversation.
Oh, I don't know. With the
With
numbers
2
that he
championships,
had,
there's no way.
If
There's
he was
no way.
2-0 with the numbers he has,
Well, 2-0.
Chris,
What if he was 2-1, 2-2?
I'm just saying.
There's no way, Rob.
If
2
he
and
had-
2 finals appearances.
How could he be in?
How
could he be in it with 6 losses? How could he be in it with 6 losses?
Because he's won 4.
But he's lost 6, Chris.
But he's won 4.
To me, that doesn't make any sense. If he was 2-0,
You've been to
and
10.
he's the all-time leading scorer, and he has all these other records, he's a stat
2-0.
machine.
Will Chamberlain did that. Will Chamberlain won 2 championships.
No,
And he averaged 50 points a game and 44 points a game and 38 points a game.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't think LeBron would be in the GOAT conversation, and Kevin Durant would not be in the if he stayed in OKC and they never win it, he would not be viewed as a top 15 player of all time.
I still think that losing as many championships to me takes you out of that. It's not about
That's
going.
fine, but you can't tell me that
Rick Barry
2-0
went to
would
9.
be in the
Rick Barry went to 9
conversation.
championships. Oh, all right.
You
he
mean
went to
Jerry
9.
West?
Jerry West went to 9, right? Okay, and
Well, he was called Mr. Clutch. He's the dang logo.
yeah, but that's
I know it's not because he was
left-handed.
but I'm just saying. I think you have to agree with me, Rob. I hear your point, but LeBron James has 4 championships, been to 10 finals. He would not. I'm positive he would not be in the GOAT conversation with 2 rings in Cleveland, and Kevin Durant would be getting ripped right now if he had no rings in Oklahoma City.
Yeah, but you're saying he had no rings. They went to the championship.
He
one
was there
time.
9 years. Got there once.
But they did
Who's
go
to say
once.
He was gonna win? Yeah, but that's not a
There's
good
no
record.
guarantee that he wouldn't have gone again. Or
No,
wouldn't
of
have won
course
one.
there's
I mean,
not.
I'm not.
But
I
the
think that's too
evidence
easy
is
to
that
look
he
at.
wouldn't.
Nah,
He was
I
there
can't-
9 years. LeBron
can't
was in
believe-
Cleveland 7 years the first time.
Doesn't mean that you can't rip
Of
off 2 or
course
3.
it
Michael
doesn't
Jordan was
mean
in
that,
Chicago for
They're
7
not as
years,
good as
Chris.
Michael Jordan.
No, but he was in Chicago for 7 years and then ripped off 3, and then it changed everything.
But
That's
Rob,
all.
my point, I just presented a hypothetical. I agree. Yeah, if LeBron stays in Cleveland and goes on a Jordan-esque run, he's probably viewed as the GOAT. So I'll give you that. I'm just saying if they stayed there and didn't win, they would not be as good on loyalty. They wouldn't hear this super team mess, but their legacies wouldn't be where they are right now.
I get why Dr. J and the older guys, Walt, Clyde Frazier, and all these guys, it's just totally against what they were always about, which was beating the best guy, not joining up with them. That's just the mentality. It's different now, Chris. That's just how people are. People like to pile up, like the old days. Real quick, a fight, it would be 1-on-1. Now it's 9-on-1. I'm serious.
No,
like
stop.
friends
You
will jump
can't
on.
accuse these guys
It'll be
of that.
9-on-1. Like that. That's like cool. Like 9-on-1. Nobody.
No, it'd be
in the old
9
days,
on 9,
it
but
would be like it would
my
be
9
9-on-1.
would be much better than your 9.
No, I've seen the
Right?
9-on-1. You've seen those videos, 9-on-1
Well,
kids.
don't think that wasn't happening back in the day. You do sound like the old man, get off my lawn then.
Nah,
Nobody ever got jumped before 2000, right?
No,
Nobody
not like
ever got
this.
jumped before the year 2000.